Okay. Now, so yesterday we went through what is SDLC and what are the phases, and we also went through what is a waterfall model. So, like a waterfall model is a step-by-step approach, and it'll be very like what to say suitable only for a very small project because each and every stage the requirements get freezed. So, like if we get any changes, it'll be quite tough in that model to implement it in our project. So that is the disadvantage. So to overcome the disadvantages of the waterfall model, we have something called spiral model. So from the name itself you will be like coming to know spiral model is something which looks like which goes in a spiral way. Okay, this is a risk driven process. Risk driven process is, so earlier stages itself, like what will happen is here in each phase they will identify what are all the risks the project will come across. Let it be a, see, I have around 4 resources who are working on certain modules, and suddenly one resource he goes away from the concern, and this is also a risk, and we should always be having a backup plan on how to what to say like how to take care of this risk. So in case I'm using a hardware and suddenly I have a hardware failure, so this is also a risk, and the process should always be ready for these risks to be handled. So spiral model is one of the best example of a risk driven process. So when your spiral model comes into picture is where it is really very effective is, see, an application is not going to be what is it, a single module. So we are going to have multiple modules, and these modules are going to be dependent on each other. So say I have module A, B, C and D. So if I have a failure on B, there are chances I the failure might affect modules D also. So these kind of scenarios needs a better what to say SDLC process or model to be handled. So spiral model is something which will be taking care of these things. So this is quite an interesting model. So we have around 4 phases. It is requirement collection and feasibility study. It is the same like the requirement will be collected over here, and the feasibility of how our team will be handling, or how our we can deliver it will be, or will also be handled over here. So next comes the design phase and the coding and testing. So I see some, oh, is it noisy once again? So is it fine now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. So now I'll show how the spiral model works. Okay, so this is the 4 phases of what to say our spiral model. This will be splitted across like this. Okay, the requirement collection, the design, the coding and the testing. So now in our requirement collection phase, this is where we'll be getting our requirements. So earlier it was like always will not be getting a requirement in a complete way. So there say I have a first set of module collections in my requirements. So I have a first set of requirements. So what happens is once the requirement is collected, obviously it will be moving on to the design phase, and the designing will take place. So after the designing is taken, what will happen is obviously we'll be moving on to the coding phase, and the coding will also be done. So now after coding, the first set of what to say your requirement will be coming in for your testing purpose. So here what you do is you will test the first set of requirement. Now you what happens is once this first set of requirements is tested, in case I have any issues, it will be again moved back to the development, and the what is it it'll be coded, and then it'll be coming back to testers again for retesting. So now what happens is now I get the second set of what is a requirement. Now again it'll go for designing, then it'll come back again for coding, and now again it will come for testing. So here in testing, what we are going to do is your requirement collection 1 and your requirement collection 2 is integrated. Okay, say what we can take as an example is now if you take Gmail, okay, so I need to view my inbox. For that, what you have to do is you have to log in, right? So before logging in, you have to register. So these three are integrated modules. So first, now you assume that in the first set of requirement you're just getting the registration module. Okay, now you register. For registration, you design, you code, and you test that registration form. Yeah, it is working fine. Now again, you're getting the second module. In second module, you are getting, say, inbox. Oh, sorry, the login page. So the login page, now it comes again for designing and coding. And now when it comes for testing, this is the important place. So what you have to do is you have to test the second module, the what to say, your login form, and you should also make sure to test the integration between your login form and your registration form is also working fine. See, without registration I should not be able to log in, right? So that that how do you ensure? Only through integration of your registration and your login form. Uh, are you people able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
so here if you see, uh, so how the testing goes here is you'll be testing the second module. So second module, that is your what module here is login module. Then the integration between the two modules, 2 and 1, the registration and the login. And you should also test the first module to ensure that nothing has been changed or nothing has created issues on your first module. So this is how the testing goes. Okay, now you'll be getting the third module. Now your third module here in our example is going to be an inbox. So to view inbox, you should register, you should log in, and then you should view inbox. So what happens is the design is created, the code is developed, and then when it comes for testing, this is how it goes. The third module should be tested, that is your inbox. Then the inbox and the login should be tested. How the integration? See, I should not be able to see Anwar's inbox from my login. So this is an integration. Okay, so this also needs a testing. So 3 and 2, that is your inbox and your login should be tested. And next, your registration, inbox and login needs also be tested. And you have to make sure to test module 2 and also module 1. Okay, this is your spiral model. It'll be looking like a spiral, but here I was not able to put a spiral one, so I have put it in this way. Okay, so now hope you people understand. This goes in this way. Okay, it keeps on going in this way for each and every requirement the team is getting. So any questions or doubts over here? Are you people clear on this? So these, even for experienced people, we get interview questions on these parts. Okay, so that's why I put a picture and I keep explaining you people to make it clear. So if you have any questions, you can just let me know.
Ma'am, how many time this process may take?
Until and unless you deliver the project, this will be going on. That's the biggest disadvantage of this, because if we keep getting changes often, right? For bigger projects,
Ma'am.
this is a bit very, what to say, this is really a critical model to be used. This is the reason now we are having Agile, which is even more friendly, but it has got lot of process, but it is a very friendly, and we deliver everything ongoing. Today I developed this one and I just deliver it, and I get, and this model will be handled separately. Okay, the Agile is a different scenario. I'll explain in detail about it. So this is a very, what is a tedious one. and this is how it'll be keep. If we get fourth one, now again it'll be going in a circle, and fifth one. So this is a very huge process for both developers and testers. So
Okay, ma'am.
any more questions, or can I move to the next one? Okay, I'll move to the next now. So these are the advantages, okay? So later stages changes can be handled. So obviously here, now if I get any change in this requirement, right? The coders would have changed it, and as a tester, I can ensure that this is also getting tested. But in waterfall model, that is not possible, right? And if anything comes in the later stage, we have to do all the process again. But here, for each and every iteration, we keep getting a cycle, and we follow process for each and everything. So here it is possible. Okay. Risk management, as I said, uh, we have a repeated development, right? Here we keep on developing, and developers also ensure every modules before delivering it to QA people. So what happens is the risk management is very effective over here, and they handle it very uh, quickly. So, and here for each and every phase, now after developing the first one and testing the first one, I obviously release to the customer, and the customer gives a feedback over here. Now for the second one also, I release and the customer gives a feedback. This goes on for each and every module. So obviously we'll be having a frequent customers feedback also. Okay, these are the advantages. Now coming to the disadvantages, yeah, for each and every phase, I'll come to the documentation parts later. For each and every phase of SDLC, document is very important. Okay, in the next model, I'll show you in detail how the documentations are handled. But for requirement collection, we have a documentation, design, we have a documentation, coding, we have a documentation, and testing also we have a documentation. So here in this model, every time I need to keep on doing some documentation work for before it goes for a release. So that is the biggest disadvantage of the spiral model. Now risk of not meeting budget. So this is one more issue. Now the what to say, the uh, for handling so many, I might need many resources that might not come into my budget. See, a single person or a two-person QA team can't go and sit and do all the testing of every modules in this way, right? This is a very tough process. So you what to say is we will be expecting more budget, but in what happens is, for in a minimal budget, we'll be pushed to work with many resources. So that is also a disadvantage of this spiral model. So yeah, a very smaller project, this is not at all required, because we are obviously going to follow waterfall model, and it will be a very quick one. Okay, any doubts over here in spiral model for anyone? What do you think any other disadvantages might be? Okay, anything you can just think, and if anything comes to your mind, you can just share me, okay? So now this is a very important term in testing, okay? This is verification and validation. So this is also a very, very frequent interview question. They'll ask you what what is the difference between verification and validation? So what do you think? Does the terms seems to be same, or do you think there is something different in it?
Something different, ma'am. Verification is inquiring about the project, and validation is a complete work of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, true. So yeah, both are totally different. Okay. So verification is a completely project process oriented activity. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example. So there is a kid in a house, okay, and the kid, what happens is, as a parent, I monitor that my kid wakes up every morning, and she studies from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock. this is a daily process going on in my home. Okay, so I just monitor her. I just verify that she is like I'll take care that she is reading. That's it. That is the process. But I don't know exactly what she is reading, and I don't know what she was going through yesterday and what she was reading today and what she'll be doing tomorrow and all. So this is the but when she goes to school and she has got her exams, and there comes the validation part. Okay, she gets her exam, she gets her marks. So that there is where the child gets validated. So this is a very simple example. So here at home we verify that this guy, even at home we can validate by giving some sample examples and sample questions and all. But for you to understand what is verification, verification is completely a process oriented activity. There are few, see, for a project to be built and to be what to say, to be delivered, I have to follow a set of process, like documentation process, designing process, what to say, the development process, the QA process, and the delivery process. So I just take care of all the process oriented activities, and we have a quality assurance team involved in every company to take care of this verification process. Okay, in simple term, they always say, are we building the product right? So having set of instructions and set of process to always ensure that the product is being built in a right way is called as verification. Okay, but coming to validation, it is a product oriented activity. So testing, writing a test case, testing, regression testing, everything, all sort of testing activities will be coming into picture in your validation phase. So this is a product oriented activity. I'll be testing the product. So this is here who will be taking care is the quality control team will be taking care. So this is the main difference. Okay, in verification, quality assurance team will be involved, and in validation, the quality control team will be involved. This is also going to be one of your interview questions, difference between quality assurance and quality control. Okay, so here if you see there, what we were checking is, are we building the product in a right way? But here in validation, we are going to ensure, is the product that is built is a right one? Is it matching my requirement? So this is a validation difference between verification and validation. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So anybody else, any questions? Okay, fine. So here I have just put a picture for you to understand. So are we building the product right? So are we doing it in the right way? And validation is, are we building the right product? Is the product built in a right way? Okay, verify the what are all the activities of this verification is listed here. Verify the intermediary products like requirement documents, design documents, diagrams, test plans, and traceability these terms I'll explain you later for you to understand even more. Okay, so don't get confused. So this is completely, we'll be having a walkthrough of all the documentation procedures in for my project to ensure the uh, process that we are going to follow to build the product is a correct one. So but here what we are going to do is, we are going to validate the final end product, like developed software or service or system, whatever is developed using these product using these processes are being validated over here. Okay, now developer point of view, this is always done only in a developer point of view. A developer point of view and customer point of view is completely different. Okay, now a developer point of view is, how am I going to design it, how I am going to code it. Yesterday I explained you, right? We'll be having coding standards and all for a developer to be followed. So those things will be taken care only in the verification verification phase, and in the validation phase it is completely the customer point of view. So as a tester, I'm going to ensure that I am a customer and I am using this application, and will my customer be happy using this, and is the product meeting his expectation. So these will be taken care in validation. Now verification is verified with, once again, sorry, verified without executing the software code. So this if you don't think that verification is for a developer point of view, means he is going to what to say, execute the software code and test it. No, he's not going to perform any actions. It is completely a documentation procedure of developer. Okay, so here he will not execute the software code, but with the documents he will verify these things. Now here validated by executing the software code. So obviously we are going to test the software using the which has been developed by a software code. So here these are the techniques used. So informal review is like within the team we'll be having a very informal review about the documentation. And inspection is like will be obviously with the term you'll be able to know, with the product owner or anyone will be having inspection on each and every documents that we have created. And walkthrough is with the team we sit and we go through each and every document to ensure that everything is fine. And technical and peer review, so each and every document which is created, right, what will happen is they will be having a technical head who should review a document and provide feedback, or we'll be having a peer. Peer is nothing but there are two people in your team, so you are a peer of the other one and the other one is a peer of you. So you'll be like very you'll be like taking care of these techniques in a verification phase. Okay, now validation. In validation you have different types of testing to be performed. Okay, we have many like functional system, smoke, regression. I'll go through one by one in like later classes, so that you can have even more idea. Okay, so any clarifications in any points? Okay, now we have seen what is a waterfall model, and we have seen what is a spiral model. Now we'll come here. If you see here, we have V model. So this is the reason why I told you about verification and validation. Okay, so here V model can also be called as verification and validation model. Okay, so here as by the name, what happens is the verification and validation both will be going in parallel. That is the development process and the QA process will be going parallel to each other. Okay, if you see in waterfall, you it was a step by step activity, right? And in spiral model it was also step by step, but still we were ensuring each and every modules that were coming for a new release were tested and developed in a very good way. But here this is we are going to have a parallel what to say planning of testing and development activities. Okay, so this is an extension of waterfall model. Testing activities are also planned in parallel with the development. Verification and validation are the main phases of V model. Okay, these two are the very important phases of this, and this is also called as verification model. So now this is how your what to say V model will look like. So I'm just starting from the scratch of the V model. So in your V model, now I get a so sorry, we have two phases, testing and development. So this part will take care of the testing activities and this part will take care of the development activities. Now what initially you will be receiving from the user is customer requirement specification. Okay, the customer will be providing his requirements in a document called customer requirement specification. Okay, I think I can disconnect this and I'll send you a new one, because else while talking only it will disconnect. Okay, but when I have 3 minutes, I'll just, anyone let me know, I'll just create a new link. Okay. So
Okay.
customer, so you understood, right? We have different documents of which CRS is customer requirement specification. In that the customers will be providing us with all the features they want for the product. So once this is received, what will happen is, now this customer requirement specification will be uh, handed over to the development team by the project manager. Okay, and development team will create a SRS, software requirement specification, for this project. Okay, so with help of customer requirement specification, the development team will create software requirement specification. In parallel, what our QA team will be doing is, they will be creating acceptance test plan. So we have something called acceptance testing. These terms, we need a very detailed view. Okay, so if I tell now, you'll get confused. This is a user level testing, to be very simple. Okay, so for that, the QA team, the testing team, will create a acceptance test plan, and also they will also create a acceptance test case. So now this SRS will again be reviewed by the project manager, and he'll be sending it to the next level. So we'll be having SRS as the input here from the project manager. So you might get a doubt. So now the testing people is also going through the what to say, SRS, and they will also, what they'll do is they'll compare it with the customer requirement specification in this stage. Okay, if as a tester, I feel that no, something is not right with this specification written in SRS. It is different from the customer requirement specification. QA team can always go back to the developer team, and they can let them know that no, this is not matching with the CRS. And so what will happen is, they will again update the SRS, and they'll send back again to the QA team, and we have to also update the test plan and test cases. Okay. Now coming next, we'll be having SRS as input for the next phase. So now, with the help of this SRS, and which is handed over by the project manager, what the development team will deliver here is high level design. So now how to explain how high level design is, uh, it will not be like a split up of each and every modules. Okay, now if you say I have a Gmail, so it'll be like it's going to have a registration form, it's going to be have a login screen, inbox, sent items, outbox, a chat, and what label. So it'll be very high level a document of the design of the main features of the application. Okay, that is called high level design. So with this help of SRS, the high level design will be created by the development team. And here what will happen is, the QA team, the testing team, they will again review this SRS against the CRS, and they will again provide, sorry, here I put it wrong way, the high level design with the SRS, and they will provide the feedback. Okay, the system test plan. So we have something called system testing. So I'll explain this also in detail. System testing in general is testing the whole application, okay, from our end. So they will create the system test plan for this phase, and they will also create the system test cases. Okay, now what do you think is going to be the input for the next level?
High level design.
Yes, exactly. So now we are moving on to the next phase. This is, here we'll be having the HLD or high level design, and this will also be like handed over, reviewed and handed over by the project manager, and we'll be having a low level design over here. Okay, so the low level design will again be low level design is a very detailed design of each and every modules of your application. Okay, this is the difference between high level and low level. This they will be comparing with the SRS and also the HLD. I have missed, yeah, reviews LLD against SRS and HLD. I'll update this and send you people. So now here I feel some design is not matching with my high SRS or my high level design. Obviously, we can go and give our feedback to the development team, and what they will do is they will again update it, and we should now this here comes our integration testing phase. Okay, integration testing is if we have multiple modules, we'll be like what to say, if the integration between those two modules are working fine, we'll be ensuring those. Okay, these things I'll come in detail again. So here for this integration testing, we'll be creating a test plan and also test cases, and based on our input they will update, and based on their update here also we'll be updating our test plan and test cases. So next phase is going to be low level design. So the low level design, so here is where the coding starts. Okay, here we are again going to just compare the low level design and high level design, and we can't do anything with respect to the coding. Okay, so we'll just create our functional test plan, and we'll also create our functional test cases for each and every modules. Okay, functional testing will take care, what to say, will take care of those. And now what happens is once the coding is done, what will happen is the white box testing will be done by the development team. So we have something called black box testing and white box testing. Okay, so now I'll do one thing, I'll disconnect and I'll send you people a new link. Okay, you can leave. I'll send you a new one.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.